Hi everyone. I want to finish up this junk mail junk journal today, and I have gotten all the tags and pockets and all of that finished up. Um, I need to do the front cover, and I need to create some kind of closure. And it took me a while to figure out what I wanted to do with the closure, so um, it's a little different than some of the things I've done. It's just a couple of cardboard circles to use as like buttons. But first I'm going to decorate the front cover, and I kind of already figured this out. It's very much like the inside signature covers are made, so it's just pretty simple. And these are the little button closures I'm going to use, but I'm going to cover them up in a minute too. So um, I want to show you how I made the button closures. One single layer cardboard's not heavy enough, so I punched out 3 layers of just like cardboard box. That's actually a tea box. And I'm going to glue them all together. And I like 3 layers. I think 3 layers works real well. I suppose you could use 2. And they don't have to be this big, but I did kind of want them to show up on this cover. I used some little clips to hold them together and created those little covers. So right now what I'm doing is I am taking one of my doodle pieces, and it could have been anything. You could use plain paper, whatever. You could paint the buttons. I wanted them to have that same kind of doodly look to them. So I just took a piece of my doodle paper and I cut out the same size circle so that I can cover my little buttons. And I cut out 6 circles when I only need 4 to cover my buttons. I'll be using those other 2 circles later. And I'm just using art glitter glue to glue them down. I wanted them to be nice and dry when I got ready to work on them, so that's why I did them first um, before I went in to glue my cover pieces on. Um, they're going to get manhandled a little bit, so I wanted to make sure that they were good and dry before I started in on that. I really like how this came out. There's been times when I wasn't liking it so much, but then it finished up and I really like it. I will be doing a flip through of the journal next week so that you can see the whole thing, but there now the journal cover can dry while I work on the next thing. And the next thing is going to be making the tie. And I want it reasonably long. It doesn't have to be super long, but I don't want to have it end up being too short if the book gets even any more gator mouthed, because it is gator mouthed. Okay, so this is it's not actually wax, it's a silicone type wax. I could not get it to wax up the end of that cord. That's just baker's twine, but it just didn't want to wax. So and I have two little beads. I want to put one on each end of the cord, and I was like, okay. So I resorted to a kind of old school method. I've got a piece of, you can use a piece of thread, but this is just a piece of wax linen that was, the head was handy. And I'm going to put the end of the cord through a loop in the wax linen. I put the two um, ends of the wax linen through the bead, and then had a loop, and I put the cord through the loop and pull it through like a needle threader in many ways. I did zoom in here so that you can maybe see it. I hope. It's hard to see because, you know, my fingers are all in the way. But there's the loop, and I pull down the loop, and then I take the other end of the cord, and I put it through the loop, and then I just keep, yeah, it fell out. Keep pulling on the loop, pulling on the wax linen until it pulls, and then you pull a cord through. I think their dental floss threaders are really nice. They work the same way. I just didn't have one handy, and the cord, the wax linen was right there. So, yep. So once I got the beads on, I tied a little knot in the end, and it's about an inch away from the end, so that if it fluffs up on the end, it will be okay. The other end was where I was getting wax on it, so I ended up cutting that off. And these are just some random metal beads that I had, and I thought they would be cool on there. Okay, now I'm working on the buttons again, and that's just a Posca paint marker. And what I'm doing is I'm covering up the cardboard edges that are on the buttons with the paint marker. I just didn't want that cardboard to show. Now, I had multiple different ideas on the brads I was going to use. Here I'm just measuring because I want the button to be sort of centered. Took me a minute to figure it out as far as how far in I wanted it. The hole I needed punched is an inch in from the right hand edge and centered between the top and the bottom. So I grab a pencil, doesn't mark. Grab a paint marker, get it marked. Second time I didn't even bother. Now, brads are different. There's lots of different brads, and this is going to take a fair amount of heavy cord underneath it, and it's going to take some abuse. So I started looking, and I pulled out these purple brads, and they have a narrow shank on them. So I had gotten out my big bite to make the holes in them, and then I realized that they had a much narrower shank, so I reached up and grabbed my 16th inch hole punch, and the purple brad went through it just fine. And I might have used that, except for the fact that once I put that purple brad in there and then I looked at it, you turn, and I didn't even look at it soon enough, because when you turn it over, I realized that there's just almost no metal sticking through there, and I need some strength. So I had also pulled out these silver brads, and they are about twice as thick and twice as long. And of course, they wouldn't go through the tiny hole I'd made. So I had to get out the big bite again and use the big bite larger hole to punch through those. There was a good half-inch sticking out the back, and that I knew then that they would hold up to having the closure on there. So, and then I just used the big bite same way to punch the holes in the covers. Must be debating between which button to use, but so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just open the brad up and then push it down real good. And then I'm just going to glue one of my little doodle circles over the top. It just keeps the brad from catching on things. That's all. And I'm going to pinch the brad and the paper that I put on top with some clips. I want it to really stay underneath there. I want the paper to stay on top of the brads. So once that gets good and dry, then I need to put the other one in. And once again, I'm just covering the brad. That's a little, what do I want to call it? A paper clip ink pen, flat pen, whatever. And I have done a video with that. I'll have to see if I can link it for you. If I can, I'll put it in the upper right hand corner. And remember, the links to all of the process of making this journal are down below in the description box. Here I am just putting a little bit of mark making. For some reason, the the collage on the pages just didn't seem to be finished. So I decided to put a few little marks here and there, just here and there. And I'm much happier. It's funny that a few little marks will make a difference. Now I was using some little X's or crosses or whatever you might want to call them, but some little dots here and there would have worked too. Um, they just went in random areas, and I just wherever it looked like it needed something, and it didn't take me long to do that, and I really think it finished off the pages. Oh, and that's another Posca pen. It's just a fine point Posca pen. The elements in on all the pages, I have the same actual elements. I have the words, a black and white piece of collage fodder, and one or two of my doodle collage pieces. Um, so, in while the pages all look kind of different, they all have a similar theme. I tend to work that way. It I don't know, it's more cohesive in my brain to make it go that way, and I like what it looks like in the end. Um, I often work with the same elements throughout a journal, and that's just the way I like to work. Okay, once we got the buttons all on, and I did tie a knot in my thread, just what I needed. Slow this back down a little bit because I wanted you to see. I am just going to loop that around the back button. And pull it. The buttons are on there kind of tight. They'll loosen up over time. But then I'm just going to tie a knot so that it stays under that button. And I didn't really even tie a knot. I just tied it one time. And now it's just going to twist around the front button. And there is still plenty of length so that if it ends up being more gator mouthed, it gets more stuff put in it. It will still be closure. I decided it needed a knot in the end of it so that the two pieces stayed together. It just seemed like it would hold up better. It would be easier to use. I really like the little threads and everything that are on that. I'm real pleased with how it came out. I really am. Um, I enjoyed doing the Coptic binding, which I haven't done a lot of. I've done a couple of times, but um, it's one of those things where if you don't use it all the time, you have to go back and think about it. Anyways, I thought about adding some more marks, but I decided I really didn't like anything more. I was very happy with how they looked. So I didn't go ahead and add anything else. And honestly, I'm real happy with how this came out. I am going to do a flip through next week, and I hope you will enjoy it. I hope you had fun watching me make this. I hope to make a different journal next time. Haven't decided what I'm doing next, but we'll see. Go have fun. Make some art. Bye bye.